Late Night Health continues. I have a question for you. You remember being in school and learning about the food pyramid. Well, for years now here at Late Night Health, and even before that, I've always questioned the food pyramid. How much we should have of protein or vitamins and supplements or not supplements, and can we get our food from our nutrients from our food? And last week, there was a notice that the United States Department of Agriculture, their current food guide pyramid is out of date. And this was brought to my attention by an organization called pH 360. pH 360, we talk with its founder right now, Matt Riemann. Matt, welcome to Late Night Health. Is the food guide pyramid really out of date?
It is, Mark, and thank you so much for having me on the show. It's a pleasure to be able to share the message of health and hope that we bring. The food pyramid is very outdated, actually. It's been outdated for quite a while, and it really comes down to the way that we've looked at things in the past and how things are changing in this current day and age. And nutrition is an education, and it's evolving. It's an evolution, and we never really realised that foods were more focused around medicine and around the intention to be able to help us prevent disease through strengthening our immune system and many other processes. But we're ready for change, and we're now needing to change it. And it's really understanding that it's similar to the technology that existed back in Windows 3.1 days many, many years ago. We've now evolved through Windows XP and Windows 95 and now it's to Windows 10.
Right.
And it's the same with the information that we've had. The food pyramid has been in its form for a very long time, and we've got so much new information that's available now in society through personalised health and medicine, which is a field that we work predominantly in. And it's time for an update. It's time to realise that it's about the individual and about the person as opposed to it being about the food. And that really is the key here to understand.
Do you think that the food today, and you're from Australia,
yes,
the
correct.
food today in America to start, and Australia and other Western countries, is it the same as it was 25 or 30 years ago? In other words, are there nutrients there in a carrot?
Yeah, well, the food itself is different. There's some great studies out there showing that it's up to 12 times less in terms of nutrients that actually exist in the same food as what they did many, many decades ago. There's a lot of different conversations that come into this with the difference in herbicides and pesticides, the genetic modifications in foods, and the quality of the soils, difference in climate and temperature, toxicity in the air. There's many factors that come into play about the food itself not being as healthy or nutritious as what it used to be. Why there's a big shift towards organic foods these days, which is a fantastic movement. What we really help people understand with the work that we do is about which foods are right for the person specifically at that point in time. And we move away from saying kale is obviously one of the most talked about superfoods. It has been for a long time. But it's not about is kale great because of all these vitamins and nutrients and all these different minerals that exist in it. It's actually about saying, well, is this right specifically for you? Does this work for Mark? Does this work for Darryl? Does this work for Matt? Because for one person, it may be something that is really healing for them. For another person, it may actually be something that's detrimental to their health. And we actually work in a medical capacity with lots of people where kale is actually the cause of their disease states in big, big ways. And it's about educating people to say, hey, you need to find out who you are. You need to find out what's right for you at this point in time and follow what you need. You're unique. You're different. There's 7 billion people on the planet. There's not one single person that's the same. And we all need different foods. We'll have different digestive systems. We'll have different lengths of our colon and size of our stomachs. We'll have different digestive enzymes that work in different ways. We'll have different things that influence all those processes, and we can understand exactly what's right for us and then know if kale is good or not.
As we look at things like kale, which is the latest, one of the latest superfoods, it's a difficult vegetable to me. It's a difficult vegetable because it tastes terrible. At least it does to me. It does. I mean, it's like my mom giving me cough medicine when I was 4 years old. Mark, I know it tastes terrible, but it's good for you. Which led us to believe that if it tastes bad, it must mean it's good for you. Right?
Well,
I'm sorry, go ahead.
That's a really great conversation, actually. And it's not necessarily about the taste, because we now understand about each person has a very different physiology, very different biology, very different biochemistry. And what tastes good for someone actually tastes terrible for another person. What's good for someone and healthy for someone is not so good and not so healthy. The saying that one man's cure is another man's poison is so true when it comes to nutrition, and that really is the new paradigm. This new paradigm in nutrition, moving away from the food pyramid, which is about having everybody should eat the same things, everybody should have more of these fruits and vegetables, everybody should have less of this. It's actually saying, hang on, for some people they need less of that. For some people they need more of the stuff that's less about. So it's saying that the new paradigm in nutrition is about the person, not about the food, and it doesn't actually matter so much about the taste. To go on top of that, another layer just to add in the mix is when you understand more about the person, you understand that everybody thinks differently and responds differently. And there's some people, if you say, hey, here's some muddy water from the bottom of a dam in the Himalayan mountains, and you drink this, it's going to help you have more vitality. There's some people that will say, great, I'm going to drink that, no problems at all. There's other people that say, are you kidding me? That tastes like dam water. There's no way. I don't care how healthy it is. I'm not going to drink that either.
No, absolutely. And that all makes sense. Let's take a step back. pH 360 is your idea, your invention, if you will. What is your background in allopathic or alternative health?
My background is in conventional science and medicine. I'm a bachelor and master's in applied human sciences. I teach medical doctors internationally and health professionals internationally. I'm a lecturer at universities in Australia and America. And we've grown up in very much that Western system, but realised all the limitations that exist in that paradigm itself. And so we work very collectively with Eastern and Western practitioners in devising a way that we can bring Eastern and Western medicine together. So we combine and integrate a lot of Chinese medicine, a lot of Ayurvedic medicine. We have the most incredible medical doctors from all around the world that work with us that really understand the integration of this ancient wisdom with the modern medicine and how we can have that understanding at this day and age. And the predictions that exist in Ayurvedic medicines and Chinese medicines, the interactions of the environment with the body, the interactions of different humans to humans and humans to atmosphere, all interact how our food's actually processed in our genes and our actual gene expression, which determines a lot of our hormones, a lot of our behaviours, a lot of our actions, and our health states. So it's really understanding that there's a big mix, and the Eastern and Western principles need to be integrated, and we're sort of the welcoming organisation that says, hey guys, we're all on the same team here. We're all trying to make a difference. We're all trying to help each other. Let's come together with the knowledge and the wisdom that we have, and let's use this to understand more about each person so we can understand how unique they are and what's right for them at the specific point in time on their journey.
So somebody might be good for kale and somebody else Brussels sprouts. And
absolutely true. And what might be great, we see a lot of people that do have issues with cauliflower, with broccoli, with kale, with many different things. We actually spoke just a little bit before this, just for a brief second, to talk about how wine may be good for someone or not good for someone. I personally don't drink wine, but wine is actually really healthful and beneficial for many different people. And for some people, it's a very disturbing thing for them, for their neurological system.
Right.
My background itself was actually, I was diagnosed about 9 years ago with a terminal illness, which was a very, a big turning point in my life, and something that really sparked me to make a lot of change and find out a lot more about what's going on in my personal physiology and biology. And we've been able to produce something that's called pH 360, which is a platform for people to understand for themselves what's actually right for them, where are they at in their journey, which specific things will switch on certain genes in their body, and which specific things will switch off the genes that aren't so good for disease in their body. And that's what pH 360 is. It's just a health program that can help people navigate in a very easy and simple way this
and that's something
that
and it's an app. You can do it on an Android or an iPhone.
Right, it's online, and we're really trying to answer the question, how can we make this affordable and accessible for everybody in the world? And we've spent just over 10 years bringing this into place with, again, the most incredible team all around the world, so that we can actually have this information available for anyone from the comfort of their own home. This isn't something you need to go and seek out the best specialists anymore. This is smarter than the human brain. It's a lot of deep learning technology, applying the latest principles in neuroscience, as well as nutrition, as well as exercise physiology. Many different sciences and medicines that come into this, and it's all evidence-based.
Our guest is Matt Riemann, founder of pH 360. We'll give you a website, and of course, his picture will be on our website as well as a link to pH 360. When you were diagnosed and said, I guess they basically said, go home and die. I mean.
Well, it's as many people actually on their journeys experience. I went to many different doctors, was diagnosed with many different illnesses at the time, and it was a genetic diagnosis that showed a mutation in one of my genes that was, the best that we knew in science and medicine at that time. And pH 360 itself works on a concept called epigenetics. And epigenetics is understanding the things outside of our genes that actually determine which genes are switched on or switched off at any given point in time. And so I was able to harness the understanding about the things outside of my genetics that could then switch that gene off specifically. And so by navigating through the foods that I could do, the exercise, even the climate I lived in, even the relationships that you have with stresses, partners, or with bosses or anything like that, it's an incredible way to understand how all these things in our daily life can influence how our genes are expressed, which actually determines our state of health or illness.
So dumping a boss who causes a lot of stress can improve your health.
Yeah, well, stress has now been shown to be the number one killer, and that's our number one. And so we're just now understanding more about stress, and we've been able to harness that a lot. And there's a number of different types of stress. I won't go into all that, but the physiological stress that can exist from being in the wrong climate or the wrong conditions that are there, eating the wrong foods. And then there's the psychological stress that can exist from things like engagements with a tough relationship, or a boss that maybe doesn't see eye to eye with you, or kids or parents. So I
have never had that happen, of course. Ever.
Of course.
Right?
Of course.
Matt Riemann is our guest, the founder of PH360. He is himself a nutrition and health scientist. We're going to continue our conversation in a couple of moments as Late Night Health continues. We invite you to go to latenighthealth.com. Lots of information there. Follow us on Facebook, facebook.com/Late Night Health. We update a couple of times a day. Visit us. All right, Matt and I and Daryl return in just a couple of moments. Don't go away.
The show continues in a moment.
Attention users of the blood-thinning drug Xarelto. If you took the drug Xarelto and experienced complications such as cerebral hemorrhage, gastrointestinal bleeding or other internal bleeding, or if a loved one has died after taking Xarelto, you may be eligible to get a cash award for your suffering. Call the Xarelto Help Hotline now at 1-800-264-3150. That's 800-264-3150. To qualify for a cash settlement, you must file a claim before the deadline, so don't miss your opportunity for a cash settlement. Call 800-264-3150 now for a free, no-obligation consultation. Our call center is open 24/7. So if you took the drug Xarelto and experienced cerebral hemorrhage, gastrointestinal bleeding, or other internal bleeding, or if a loved one has died after taking Xarelto, call the Xarelto Help Hotline now at 800-264-3150. 800-264-3150. That's 800-264-3150.
The experts at Web.com want to build your business a successful website for free, just like we did for these current Web.com customers.
We've looked at other website designers. There's nobody better than Web.com.
Web.com can build your website in as little as 7 days free. Plus, we'll promote it on all the major search engines. If after 30 days you're happy, we'll continue to provide promotion, hosting, support, and maintenance, all for one low monthly fee. If not, cancel and pay nothing.
If you're in business and you don't have a web presence, you won't be taken seriously.
Call right now and you'll also get a free .com or .net domain name for your new website, powered by VeriSign, the world's leading domain name provider.
No upfront charge for site build, after which ongoing fees apply. Rights to site are relinquished when canceled. Domain included during active service, after which fees apply.
800-489-8751. 800-489-8751. 800-489-8751. That's 800-489-8751.